Section 1 of the Book of Halloween by Ruth Edna Kelly. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Preface. This book is intended to give the reader an account of the origin and history of Halloween, how it absorbs some customs belonging to other days in the year, such as May Day, Midsummer, and Christmas. The context is illustrated by selections from ancient and modern poetry and prose related to Halloween ideas. Those who wish suggestions for reading, recitations, plays, and parties will find the list in the appendix useful, in addition to the books on entertainments and games to be found in any public library. Special acknowledgment is made to Messrs. E. P. Dutton and Company for permission to use the poem entitled Halloween from The Spires of Oxford and Other Poems by W. M. Letts, to Messrs. Longmans, Green and Company for the poem Pomona by William Morris, and to the editors of The Independent for the use of 5 poems. Ruth Edna Kelly, Lynn, 1919. Chapter 1. Sun Worship, the Sources of Halloween. If we could ask one of the old world pagans whom he revered as his greatest gods, he would be sure to name among them the sun god, calling him Apollo if he were a Greek, if an Egyptian, Horus or Osiris, if of Norway, Sol, if of Peru, Bochica. As the sun is the center of the physical universe, so all primitive peoples made it the hub about which their religion revolved, nearly always believing it a living person to whom they could say prayers and offer sacrifices, who directed their lives and destinies, and could even snatch men from earthly existence to dwell for a time with him, as it draws the water from lakes and seas. In believing this, they followed an instinct of all early peoples, a desire to make persons of the great powers of nature, such as the world of growing things, mountains and water, the sun, moon, and stars, and a wish for these gods they had made to take an interest in and be a part of their daily life. The next step was making stories about them to account for what was seen. So arose myths and legends. The sun has always marked out work time and rest, divided the year into winter idleness, seed time, growth, and harvest. It has always been responsible for all the beauty and goodness of the earth. It is itself splendid to look upon. It goes away and stays longer and longer, leaving the land in cold and gloom. It returns, bringing the long, fair days and resurrection of spring. A Japanese legend tells how the hidden sun was lured out by an image made of a copper plate, with saplings radiating from it like sunbeams, and a fire kindled, dancing, and prayers. And round the sun in North America, the Cherokees believed they brought the sun back upon its northward path by the same means of arousing its curiosity, so that it would come out to see its counterpart and find out what was going on. All the more important church festivals are survivals of old rites to the sun. How many times the Church has decanted the new wine of Christianity into the old bottles of heathendom. Yuletide, the pagan Christmas, celebrated the sun's turning north, and the old midsummer holiday is still kept in Ireland and on the continent as St. John's Day, by the lighting of bonfires and a dance about them from east to west as the sun appears to move. The pagan Halloween at the end of summer was a time of grief for the decline of the sun's glory, as well as a harvest festival of thanksgiving to him for having ripened the grain and fruit, as we formerly had husking bees when the ears had been gathered, and now keep our own thanksgiving by eating of our winter store in praise of God who gives us our increase. It is unlucky to name the fairies, here as elsewhere, except by such placating titles as good neighbors or men of peace. Rowan, elm, and holly are a protection against them. I have tied red thread round the bairns' throats, and given ilk ane of them a riding wand of rowan tree, for by sewing up a slip of wych elm into their doublets. And I wish to know of your reverence if there be anything more that a lone woman can do in the matter of ghosts and fairies. Be here, that I should have named their unlucky names twice over. Scott, Monastery. The sign of the cross disarmeth all evil spirits. These spirits of the air have not human, each by the graves of his kin, or to the place of bones, where the remains of those long dead are thrown all together in one tomb. They can be seen behind gratings, by the people as they pass, and rows of skulls at the sides of the entrance can be touched. In these tombs are Latin inscriptions meaning, "Remember, thou must die, today me, and tomorrow to thee," and others reminding the reader of his coming death. From the cemetery, the people go to a house or an inn which is the gathering place for the night, singing or talking loudly on the road to warn the dead who are hastening home, lest they may meet. Reunions of families take place on this night, in the spirit of the Roman feast of the dead, the Feralia, of which Ovid wrote, "After the visit to the tombs and to the ancestors who are no longer with us, it is pleasant to turn towards the living. After the loss of so many, it is pleasant to behold those who remain of our blood, and to reckon up the generations of our descendants." A toast is drunk to the memory of the departed. The men sit about the fireplace smoking or weaving baskets, the women apart, knitting or spinning by the light of the fire and one candle. The children play with their gifts of apples and nuts. As the hour grows later, and mysterious noises begin to be heard about the house, and a curtain sways in a draught, the thoughts of the company already centered upon the dead find expression in words, and each has a tale to tell of an adventure with some friend or enemy who has died. Be heard about the house, and or enemy who has died. The go to bed wid dem spooks round me. Ain't no rest for dis yer head when dem folks surround me. What's dat groaning sound I hear off dere by the garden? Lordy, Lordy, Lordy dear, grant dis sinner pardon. Won't neber, I declare, if it ain't my Sammy. Sambo, what you doing dere? You can't scare yo' mammy. Carlyle Smith in Harper's Weekly, October 29, 1910. Halloween. Pixie, kobold, elf, and sprite are all on their rounds tonight. In the wan moon's silver ray thrives their helter-skelter play. Fond of cellar, barn, or stack, true unto the almanac, they present to credulous eyes strange hobgoblin mysteries. Cabbage stumps, straws wet with dew, apple skins, and chestnuts too, and a mirror for some lass, show what wonders come to pass. Doors they move, and gates they hide, mischiefs on moonbeams ride, are their deeds, and by their spells love records his oracles. Don't we all of long ago, by the ruddy fireplace glow, in the kitchen and the hall, those queer coof-like pranks recall? Eerie shadows they were then, but tonight they come again. Were we once more but 16, precious would be Halloween. Joel Benton in Harper's Weekly, October 31st, 1896. Halloween. A gypsy flame is on the hearth, sign of this carnival of mirth. Through the dun fields and from the glade flash merry folk in masquerade. It is the witching Halloween. Pale tapers glimmer in the sky, the dead and dying leaves go by. Dimly across the faded green, strange shadows, stranger shades are seen. It is the mystic Halloween. Soft gusts of love and memory beat at the heart reproachfully. The lights that burn for those who die were flickering low, let them flare high. It is the haunting Halloween. A. F. Murray in Harper's Weekly, October 30th, 1909. End of section 16. End of the Book of Halloween by Ruth Edna Kelly. Read for LibriVox.org into the public domain by Professor Heather Mbai in Carrollton, Georgia, in October 2009. For more free audiobooks or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org.